The table seems further.
It is further. That's why.
Thank you.
Is that better?
Tricked you.
Oh, what a funny joke. It's been a couple weeks. We've been a little busy
Yeah.
for reasons that the audience doesn't need to know or care about.
I don't know what you're talking about. We released our hit installment of Rewind just 2 weeks ago.
We were going to do a review for Final Reckoning
Yeah.
and Lilo and Stitch,
Mhm.
but we got busy. Work things came up.
Yeah.
So I decided, hey, you know what? Who cares about just Final Reckoning? The whole movie's about the whole series.
Yeah.
So let's just tier list it out. Let's rank them.
So excited. I've been waiting for this for Mission Impossible, one of the first movies we ever talked about doing this.
Yeah.
I think I've been waiting since then.
So let's do it.
Any thoughts on Lilo and Stitch?
No thoughts.
Okay, cool.
It's just a movie. Kids love it a lot,
Yeah.
so that's all that matters. It's a kid movie.
It is a
So-
kid movie. It's fine.
Yeah. It's whatever. Anyways, let's start from the very beginning.
Okay.
What if we worked our way backwards? That would be kind
We
of...
do whatever what you want. I think it would be a pretty anticlimactic with speaking of Lilo and Stitch.
Mhm.
You know, this is the second time that Tom Cruise has had to go up against Lilo and Stitch.
Really?
Yeah, Minority Report and Lilo and Stitch opened on the same day in 2002.
Did he lose both times?
He lost both times, but I think
Yeah.
he knew I think he knew this time what was going to happen. You know?
He lost both times, but I would say Minority Report probably
Incredible, yeah.
aged
So-
a lot better than the cartoon.
Well, Tom Cruise also knew what was going to happen. He had been in the entity, so he knew.
He knew.
He saw it.
Let's start 1996.
Okay.
We get the reboot of a classic TV show,
Yep.
Mission Impossible.
Good morning, Mr. Phelps. This is your mission should you choose to accept it. Should you or any member of your IM force be caught or killed, the Secretary will disavow all knowledge of your actions. Ethan Hunt will be your point man, as usual. Good luck, Jim.
I remember watching Access Hollywood or whatever those shows, Extra.
Extra.
I remember those back in the day. They hyping it up, but also the online chatter. You know, this is early internet,
Yeah.
so take that with a grain of salt. But they're all like, "Why are they rebooting a TV show?" But for me, as you know, this is me really getting into film, and I'd already watched a couple De Palma movies.
Yeah.
So to see Brian De Palma do like a big blockbuster movie,
Yeah.
starring Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
John Voight, Emilio Estevez,
Emilio
before we knew
yeah.
what happened in the movie.
Mhm.
He was marketed pretty heavily.
Yeah.
Ving Rhames,
Yeah. Jean Reno.
Jean Reno. And to watch this movie, I didn't see it in theaters.
Yeah.
Saw it on VHS. Classic.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a good VHS movie.
watching this movie was like, well, I wouldn't say it was like a religious experience, but it was like, it was a modern day spy movie, and it ended up helping reboot James Bond too, because they sort of,
Yeah. They needed some competition. Well, also, too, it's like that this was the first time that Cruise was kind of putting his name on like a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
That like he's like, okay, and he produced it. Like this was him, I think, always kind of leveling up to become Cruise movie star. Like movie star,
Yeah.
producer.
because before this,
Hollywood guy.
he didn't really do many action movies.
Yeah.
I would perhaps say Days of Thunder was probably the closest to an action movie.
And, I mean, Top Gun, kind of, but you know.
Kind of, but
But it's like, this is his, like, hey, I'm a movie star, and this is going to be one of my things I do all the time.
yeah,
And I love this movie.
it owns.
It is
owns.
really-
the bubblegum scene alone is probably like top tier.
Pasta lasagna, don't get it on you. It's still a thing I think about all the time. It's more than anything just a spy thriller, like an espionage, whodunit,
Mhm.
what's going on. There's still parts that I don't like really understand, and that's okay.
That's
like
fine.
the whole Job thing.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
it's like you're like, and this is also early internet days,
Mhm.
so you could just make up whatever you wanted to about the internet.
Right,
Like, everyone
yes.
had an email address like that. It's just good. It's cool. And Cruise has the whole scene where he's doing the close-up magic.
Mhm.
One of my favorite Mission Impossible scenes of all time. It's so good.
Well, I mean, you know, being a spy is all about illusion.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. the final train sequence
Yeah.
probably stands the test of time. I've rewatched it several times. Obviously, CGI is a little hit or miss when you watch some of these old movies, but I will say, having watched Mockingjay recently, I think just CGI is never going to age well,
Yeah, I think
regardless
so.
of however it works.
Yeah.
Because there are certain scenes in Hunger Games, I'm like, wait, that was CGI.
Yeah, but even also when you think about like high def 4K TVs,
Exactly,
it's like
yeah.
do not watch parts of Jurassic Park on a
this, yeah.
high def TV. It's
These-
not gonna look, like there's still
Yeah.
parts that look stunning, but you know, like even this, it's like I just like the look and feel of it too, because it both feels like that like 90s
Mhm.
like spy movie.
So, is this S tier? Because that's the question.
I'd
when
say
we-
this is like an A tier.
Okay. You said it, not me.
That's fine.
And I'm going to you as the authority on this subject
I think
because
it's an
this
A
is your
tier
franchise.
because I think there are parts that I think it's an incredible movie and I love every minute.
But
of it.
you're putting in the totality of the
In the
franchise.
totality of the
Yeah.
franchise, there is a couple that I would put above this, but like, yeah, this is A tier for me.
Now let's go to the one that was probably parodied even more.
Yeah,
Mission Impossible 2.
yeah,
They're coming hot off of just Tom Cruise late 90s,
yeah.
chasing the Oscars, failing to make it, so he
Yeah.
comes back to Mission Impossible 2.
I believe he's also either going through a divorce or this is just right after a divorce.
Yeah.
Boy, does it feel like it.
Yeah. And this is directed by John Woo.
Yeah.
Doug Ray Scott took this movie, had to turn down X-Men to do
I
this
think he had to
movie.
leave X-Men.
Yeah.
He was signed
He
on.
already was getting like costuming done.
Yeah.
Now, say what you will. We've talked about this movie
Yeah.
before, so we're not going to delve into it too much, but you can find our video elsewhere. I believe this is an S tier Mission
That's
Impossible
crazy
movie.
talk.
Not because it's good, but because it's a John Woo movie, and John Woo understands the assignment that, well, I don't know if he understands the Mission Impossible assignment because no other movie in
Yeah.
the franchise is like this, but he understands the action assignment that action comes first.
Yeah.
You make things look cool.
And as a John Woo movie, it's a great John
Yeah.
Woo movie.
Yeah.
As a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible vehicle,
Yeah.
it is not. It's there are parts in this that are really cool. There are parts that you're like, you know, we try to get a little like love interest in there,
Mhm.
and again they kind of they figure all that out later, and it's just very much. It just feels very much like excess. What if we could just put
Yeah.
so much in it, and much like I know there's a bad guy, but the threat is like a disease.
It is not what the
Yeah.
audience was expecting.
Yeah.
But it did well in the box
I'm
office.
sure. Well, the Limp Bizkit helped, you know.
Well, you know, in the rock climbing scene.
The rock climbing scene is iconic, but also just like I don't know, like even the fact that Anthony Hopkins is in this movie for a voiceover and a scene.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
I do like his team. I do wish they would have brought the Australian guy back
Yeah.
for like Final
don't
Reckoning. That would have been
remember.
fun.
That'd been fun.
He's like Lisa, you know. Like,
But
"What?
yeah,
I'm back.
as we said in another video, it's bad,
Yeah.
but it's cool. And
cool.
it's fun.
Honestly, it does fit the mold if you're tracking Ethan. That
Yeah.
like he's got a team, he loses a team. So what is his natural thing to do?
Get a new
Kind of
team.
be like get a kind of new team, but also be like, this is mostly on me.
Yeah.
You know, like that he won't let Pete. He's like, I'm gonna do this.
Well, yeah, this does set up the ethos like Ethan's the only man that can
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
And I like that that's the thread that after Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation starts the thread of
Yeah.
like Ethan's the only man
Yeah.
to do this. He's got a team, yes, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
But he's like the dude. Again,
I'm gonna let you play. I mean, you put it in S tier. I would honestly.
I would put
it
it S tier, but I understand all the haters out there.
just because of I know where. How many? What's the lowest tier?
F.
So I'd put this as a C tier.
C is fine. I'll give you that concession.
It's entertaining.
Yes.
It does have. Hans is crushing the score.
Yes.
Like making a score that has no business being in a Mission Impossible movie. Some of the most beautiful music you'll ever hear as like a woman injects herself with a deadly virus.
All right, now let's go to the movie that is almost exclusively about Ethan Hunt's love interest.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible 3, directed by J.J. Abrams. He's hot. He's coming hot off of Star Trek. Well,
No, he's
not.
coming off
hot
of
of
Alias.
Alias and Lost.
No,
he's
I
the
don't think
exec. He's the exec
Lost is
producer.
maybe the same year. Is Lost 2006?
I think it was in production.
Maybe this
Well,
is like his first kind
Regardless,
of
he's hot.
like,
He's hot.
I think Cruise watched some Alias after losing David Fincher,
Yeah.
and
was
who's
like,
it?
I got it.
Carnahan. I think Carnahan may have taken a crack at it. Like, yeah, this will do.
Yeah.
It's spy.
And this has Michelle Monaghan as perhaps Ethan's most well-known love interest.
Yeah.
But it has Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
And I dare to say it, he is the best villain of the entire series.
Oh yeah.
Just because it's Philip. It's
100%.
Philip's. It's
Yeah.
Philip. He's crushing it.
They do give him like the worst like ending.
Yeah.
It's the rug pull of
Yeah.
like that. It's Crudup, and but you think it's Fishburne. I think most of this movie is really good. Not talking about the lens flares,
Yeah.
but like, and the way that it looks like a TV show. You have the Carrie Russell rescue scene,
Right. Yeah.
which is still scarred into my memory when her eyes just go, like it is upsetting.
Yep.
And then you have like him running when he's on. You have the scene where he's stealing the what do they call it? The anti-god.
The anti-god. Yeah.
And then but that whole scene where he's on the phone with Benji, because we also get Benji.
Oh, this is the first Benji. Yeah.
And then, but when he's running through that, through the streets and like down the river, this I think kind of starts to solidify everything we got to have in a Tom Cruise movie. Like a crazy part, a cool heist, him running for a long distance.
This is where the running meme sort of really.
Oh yeah,
takes
he's got
hold,
that
yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
He's just like, Benji, show me where to go.
2005. Well, I guess you can even go back to Minority Report, but 2005 to 2007. I think Tom Cruise was running in every single movie because War of the Worlds is mostly running. Do we put the C?
I put it C too.
Okay.
Maybe just like a closer to B than 2.
Yeah.
But it's a good palette refresh of like
And they were definitely trying to reboot it on 3. They were like, okay, this is the start.
Yeah.
We're gonna make sure this continued, and then they took another 5 years and just did another hard reset.
Yeah, because this is like
Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, Ghost Protocol comes as like Cruise has not lost everything, but like
in between movies, we had the Oprah moment.
When it's like he had already, I think this was already in the can when the Oprah moment happens, and 3 was, and then Ghost Protocol definitely I think started out as we're gonna get him back, but we're definitely gonna maybe hand it off.
Jeremy Renner shows up.
Jeremy Renner shows up.
Directed by Brad Bird.
Brad Bird. His first live action, one of 2. His first live action.
Tomorrowland's the other one.
Tomorrowland's the other one.
Now, people don't know this. Yeah. Well, if you follow JD on social media, well, first of all, thank you.
Thank you for following.
But if you don't follow him on social media or Letterboxd, he's been really high on Ghost Protocol.
I'm a big Ghost Prot fan. One, because Ghost Protocol is just cool to say.
Yeah.
It's, I think, really creates what will be the next like almost 15 years of Mission Impossible.
Yeah, it sets it all up.
You get Benji in there. This one is lacking Luther. It is very Luther-like.
Oh, yeah. This is the Burj Khalifa?
This is the Burj Khalifa,
okay,
which I saw this on IMAX.
Yeah.
And it was,
my hands were sweating.
It was incredible. I don't know if there will be a stunt that ever tops the Burj Khalifa.
No.
And then the escalation. And it's just, and Cruise's hair is the best in 2, but also comically the best in 2.
Yeah.
This is he's just like dirty and grungy. There's also the moment where he goes from being a Russian general to then like flipping a whole outfit. And it's just also like, this is like, hey, what happens if none of the tech works?
This is Ethan Hunt at his most Ethan Huntiest. And I think this sets up why people fall in love with Mission Impossible over the last decade.
Yeah, this is where McHugh comes in a little bit.
Yeah.
I think Christopher McQuarrie comes in and is kind of helping.
I think he might have been a script doctor on this or some.
I think was.
There's some discussion that how involved he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just a really fun Mission Impossible movie. It may not be the best.
No.
But it is just really fun and it sets the mold for what's to come.
Yeah.
So I think we put it B, or would you put it A?
I'd put it A.
Okay.
I put it A. The Burj Khalifa alone,
yes, I
think gets it there. But I think everyone thinks about the Burj Khalifa, but then forgets that you have the villain is weak.
Yes.
The villain is
the movie is more about can Ethan trust his team to pull it off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, can he, and then you get to reveal that his wife isn't really dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then he it's just, I don't know. I think Ghost Protocol should be initiated more.
Then we get Rogue Nation,
Okay.
which is the start of the McQuarrie? What do we call
Macquarie, the
Macquarie-verse?
The Macquarie-verse. Yeah.
them?
Hot off of Jack Reacher.
Yeah,
Movie we've
first
talked about
Jack
here.
Reacher is
Yeah.
amazing. Rogue Nation, this introduces Sean Harris's character.
Yeah. The Syndicate is
The
introduced.
Syndicate, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
I was trying to get him to come in earlier, but
Elsa Faust.
for me, I don't know. Rogue Nation didn't hit as hard as I thought it would
Yeah.
coming off of Ghost Pro, but it is still, at the end of the day, it's a fun Mission Impossible
Yeah.
movie, and it sets up a lot of good things.
I think Rogue Nation is, across the board, the best Mission Impossible movie.
You can say that. You're allowed to.
Is it the best action? No.
No, probably
Is
not.
it, though, the best spy and action movie of the franchise? I think so.
Look, knowing what comes up next, that's you have to defend yourself a little bit.
And I will. I brought this up a couple weeks ago when I was rewatching all of them. I think that Rogue Nation is the Batman Begins of McHugh's
I was also
movies.
not that big of a fan of Batman Begins, so
I think Batman Begins is a great Batman movie.
yeah.
The Dark Knight is a great Joker movie.
Right, yeah.
And then, we'll get into it, but like The Dark Knight Rises is serviceable and has
It's bad.
its moments.
I will say it. It's bad.
It has its moments. I just think that people kind of sleep on Rogue Nation when it is quietly one of the raddest Mission Impossible movies. Yes, Fallout is like being punched in the face over and over again, and you're loving every second of it.
Yeah.
But Rogue Nation is it's quiet, and you get like Baldwin just monologuing, and it's good, and there's a ton of masks, and and the Elsa Faust, and the opera scene. Like, it's just like, I could just say 10 words and be like, that's what I love about it.
Yeah. So you're gonna put this A tier?
I'd put this A tier.
Okay.
I would secretly put it in S tier, but I'll put it A tier.
You're put it A tier.
But I like to think that when we go into this list, that really only one movie should be S tier,
And it's the next
and
one.
it's the next one. Yeah.
Mission Impossible Fallout 2018. Henry Cavill, Sean Harris comes back.
Yeah.
Bunch of people come back.
Yeah.
Is this Angela Bassett's first?
Angela Bassett's first movie.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin does come back, and I think that's what I like about both the 1-2 punch of Rogue Nation and Fallout is that it, for the first time, it feels like we're actually following a narrative.
Exactly, yeah.
And that the Syndicate is still very much a thing.
This, to me, is the apex of everything
yeah.
that everyone loves about Mission Impossible. It combines what people loved about the first one, the second one, the third. Basically, everything that people loved from all the previous movies is in this movie.
Yeah.
You get crazy fight scenes.
Yep.
You get low key, and you get high key.
Yeah.
High action, low action.
Yeah.
You get espionage. You get, Rebecca Ferguson is probably the best part of this entire movie.
I think she's the best part of Rogue Nation too.
Well, she's the best part of probably the whole series.
But no,
outside
she
of
is
Ethan,
great. Yeah, she is.
Outside of Ethan Hunt,
Yeah.
she is the. But
That's
yeah,
crazy when Luther's right there. How dare you?
Luther, I think Luther also gets really good in Fallout. He
does.
comes back
Yeah.
and it just feels like you're like, I missed you.
Yeah.
You've been here the whole time, but I've missed you so bad.
He's in Rogue Nation. He's doing good.
I
things
know,
in Rogue
but
Nation.
he doesn't get the flowers until like.
I know. He's really
Fallout,
crushing it. Yeah.
Fallout, and then everything after is like Henry Cavill is like, what if Ethan Hunt was the novel version of Jack
Yeah.
Reacher? Tall, beautiful, strong, can do everything that Ethan Hunt can do.
Yeah.
But he's got a strength which
Yeah.
Ethan doesn't have. I mean, he does. You see flashes of it.
Yeah.
And then in Final Reckoning, you get one scene where it's like, oh, Ethan's actually strong.
Yeah.
But to get a guy that's as good as Ethan Hunt, but a little bit stronger,
Yeah.
it gives them that, like, every man, they see another man, they're like, they get a little inferiority complex. And you got to be like, oh, you got to like, and it feels like Ethan's trying to flex his muscles.
Yeah.
Every time he flexes, so does Henry Cavill. And that's what makes it fun. I think it's like a cat and mouse kind of thing.
And I also think it's just nice that after going rogue for most of these movies, except for 2, after going rogue for almost every movie,
Yeah.
that like it kind of forces the team to like look in a mirror and be like, hey, you have your way of doing it,
Yeah.
but we have our way of doing
Yep.
it. And sometimes, like there's the whole like Angela Bassett line, you use a scalpel, I use a hammer,
Yeah.
and it's just, you're like, yeah, there are different ways that the espionage works. In the end, yeah, does Ethan win? Absolutely.
Right.
But
He
it's
has to.
just, but I also think because he has to take on some of the methods
Mhm.
of Cavill, and
Yeah.
that's what's so. That's what I love most about Fallout is that like, there are moments where like, yeah, he has to kind of give in to things that he would never do, and then the helicopter stuff at the end is.
Oh yeah.
will be maybe the most, well, not the most like, wow, Burj Khalifa thing,
Yeah.
is kind of the most impressive because you're like, he's flying the helicopter, and it's just like,
The scene where Henry Cavill pulls out the like, I don't even, the turret gun.
yes.
Because it takes the scalpel versus hammer
Yeah.
thing. It's like Ethan's trying to be cute,
Yeah.
and then Henry Cavill is just like, I'm just gonna shoot you down.
Yeah, and it's just good, and they have the final fight. Michelle Monaghan comes back. Arkansas's own Wes Bentley's in.
That's right, Wes Bentley. I forgot he's in this thing. But yeah, and every time you think Henry Cavill's character's been defeated at the end, he just like keeps showing up.
Face melted.
Yeah, S tier. Whatever, S tier.
Now here's a question.
Yeah.
This is S tier. Do you think, before we get into the next two, this is where they should have ended?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a perfect ending because like Ilsa's there, and he's kind of closed the door on Michelle Monaghan, and it's just kind of like, yeah, we did it, and Angela Bassett loves us, you know?
And I get, like, you know, you need... the ending of Final Reckoning feels like the ending they were hoping to get with Fallout,
Yeah.
and they just never got it that way. So, but yeah. Well, I guess we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
Comes out 2023.
Are we talking about Dead Reckoning or Dead Reckoning Part 1?
Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Okay.
And there's only one part, too, so...
We'll never get the second part.
This was shot during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Cruise basically kept anybody that was involved with
Yeah.
this movie, he gave them a job and kept them
Yes.
like,
Which we will always love.
yes.
That's very cool,
Yeah.
and why these budgets are so massive.
But at the end of the day, Dead Reckoning, unfortunately, the entity in Gabriel,
Yeah.
as much as I love how corny and cartoony of a villain Gabriel
Yes.
is, it does feel like I still don't even know how to. I don't know how to reckon with it.
Because of the things that they set up in Dead Reckoning that never get paid off in Final Reckoning, it makes me like sour on Dead Reckoning a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? The stunts are great. Let's get that out of the way. The stunts are cool. Like, that's fine. But this idea of like, I was kind of interested in like, oh, what is this choice we're talking about?
Yeah.
You know, who is this mystery woman that Gabriel has killed and framed Tom Cruise for? Guess what? We'll never find that out. Like, it's
Just his first love. That's
and
all
so
I know.
for me,
yeah.
I go back to Dead Reckoning, and I'm like, it's just not as like, because you know that you're not going to get the answers, and so
Yeah.
then you're like, I enjoy it less knowing that I'm never going to know.
It has the Lost problem in
Yeah.
that some people don't like the end of Lost because it doesn't answer the things
Yeah.
they wanted answered.
Well, and it's clear that they like, well, oops, we probably shouldn't have gone into that because that's not what
Yeah.
people connect to. But that's what I connected. That's what I, as a fan, connect to. And come on, you put in a movie, you got to pay it off. Like this.
Yes, exactly.
Is rude.
Yeah, and that's why people hate Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Even if they hate Last of Jedi, they also hate Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it does have the similar problem as that
Yeah.
trilogy. But also at the end of the day, as we previously mentioned, it should have ended at Fallout.
Yeah.
The issue is that No Time to Die kind of
Yeah.
did what Dead Reckoning is setting up
Yeah.
10 times better.
Yeah.
And they both come out roughly around the same time. And so I think if you're thinking about conclusion of spy thrillers,
Yeah.
you got to give it to No Time to Die
Yeah.
because it does a lot. I'm not going to say there's a lot of stunts that are similar, but there are a few similarities
Yeah.
between those two movies.
Well, and it has the guts to just do the thing that everyone is like they expect it, but they never actually believe that you'll
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I think when Top Gun Maverick comes out and is such a hit and
Mm-hmm.
kind of like quote unquote saves the movies, it felt like Cruise was now like, oh, this is everything has to be this.
Yes.
And so then it does feel like not only is he in competition with other Mission Impossible movies, he's now in competition with Top Gun Maverick, and you're just not gonna like. You don't have 5 years to work on a movie anymore.
Yeah. And I think the reception to this movie, box office wise and critic wise, sort of influences how Tom Cruise moves after the Mission Impossible movies. But anyways, where are you going to put Dead Reckoning?
Dead Reckoning, I'd put this as. We haven't released like a B tier, have we?
I don't think so. I tried to get you to put one in B tier, but you refused. So
Refused. So I'm gonna put Dead Reckoning Part 1 in B tier.
cool. And then we get the Final Reckoning, which
Yeah.
is not a part 2,
Not
even,
part 2.
even though it is.
What exactly is your plan?
The first 40 minutes of this movie is, to me, it felt like Last Time On. Like when you
Yeah.
tune in, you're like,
Yes.
oh man, I can't
Not-
remember what happened.
And not just last time on the last movie, but last time on the whole series.
Yeah. Last time on, things that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
But I will say, the last part of this movie
Yeah.
is some of the best stuff.
Yeah.
The plane versus plane scene at the end is just
Incredible.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Buster Keaton would be proud.
Oh yeah.
He's in his grave wherever he is with a big old
Applauding?
grin. Applaud.
He stood up and
He's doing absolute cinema. They give Luther.
the worst thing that they've ever done in this franchise.
I don't understand why it's glossed over too.
Yes, and then you have the nerve to try to end it with a monologue from him, a great monologue.
Yes.
But you gave him such and again, Ving Rhames has health issues that like they obviously were dealing with and
Right.
trying to figure that out. But like, there's a better way you do this.
Yes.
There's just a better way. Put him on a TV screen.
While the first part of the movie is not great, it does flow very well.
Yeah.
I will say, the subway scene, already getting memed to death online, but it is perhaps the happiest anyone has ever seen to see Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
Because every time someone interacts with Ethan Hunt, outside of his
Oh,
group,
submarine. You said subway, and I was like,
I did say
friendship
subway.
has a subway scene, and I'm like,
Yeah,
are we talking
sorry.
friendship?
So I always say for some reason, no matter.
Oh, then I go,
Yeah.
and then I thought, is he in like a subway car, or is he? Are we talking subway restaurant?
No,
Submarine.
Just
yes.
anytime I think submarine, I
Yeah.
say subway.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But submarine.
So the submarine scene, but yeah, this is the first time you see a group of people that instead of being mad that they're meeting Ethan Hunt,
Yeah.
they're so jazzed.
Oh, yeah.
Except for the one guy.
One guy who is in a death cult,
Yeah.
but also weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that like just someone finally is like, oh, you're crazy. We live under the water below periscope level.
In freezing cold water.
We're nuts too. Like,
And then Katie O'Brien like forcing him to take a hot shower
Yeah.
is just so funny to me.
so good. The whole submarine stuff, and they're like, "You want to poke the bear?" And he's like, "Nice."
Yeah.
It's just cool.
It's my problem with the MCU movies. They're afraid to kill people.
Yeah.
And to see Simon Pegg, probably should have warned you, spoilers.
Yeah. Well,
but
very a lot of spoilers.
to see Benji alive at the end,
Yeah.
it ticked me off a little bit.
Let Luther, let Benji go.
Especially if you're ending the franchise.
And we'll get to that in a second. But also, I think they bring back the agent from Mission Impossible 1 who loses the knock list. And honestly, one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah, he's cool.
He
I
and his
like him.
wife in the like that idea. It does get a little silly when he's like, "No, Ethan, you saved my life.
Yeah.
You gave my life purpose.
That
when
was a
you
little weird.
Sent me to Alaska and I met my wife." But like, he is great.
Yeah.
I know he's in like other things.
And I like
he's
him
in
doing the
acting.
Morse code for the location
Yeah.
backwards.
Yes.
That was sick.
It's just like there's
Yeah.
just little things, and then like and then you think, oh well, they're done, and then like they're in the rest of the movie, and you're like super surprised.
Cool.
Now I would have. This is major spoiler. I just kind of wish that they would not have revealed that he survived a fall cruise, and then like he has all his friends, and they're like, oh, we did it for Ethan. Ethan did it. We love Ethan, and then you just cut, just boom.
Oh, you're talking about when he comes out, you think he parachutes out and it catches on fire.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and then like I just think they reveal it too quickly. I wanted to almost like a little Dark Knight Rises action, where like you don't know that he actually made it,
Yeah.
and you're hearing Luther's message, and you're like, oh bummer, he didn't make it. But then who's standing over there in the crowd watching everyone? Is that a mustachioed Tom Cruise with gray hair? And then he walks away,
Yeah.
and does he Ghost Protocol, hood up, smoke?
Should
disappear?
have done that, something like
Should
that.
have.
Yeah. It's like this movie, I think, is like it could have been amazing.
Yeah.
And it just
It
wasn't.
just wasn't. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
A movie I will 100% rewatch and probably skip the first 30 to 40 minutes.
I think it probably the main issue is that it's trying to be too reverent to the whole series.
Yeah.
And so for people that didn't rewatch it,
Yeah.
the whole series like me, I was just like, okay, cool, just get to the
Let's
thing.
get to the thing.
So is this a high B?
We've been pretty generous.
Yeah. Were you gonna go low B?
I was going to go like
C?
low B into C. Like, can we put it like right on the line?
Sure,
Thank you.
I make the graphics.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's it. The series is over
Yeah.
until they decide to reboot it 10 years from now.
Should he be what do they call it, the IMF person? Not a commissioner.
Nah, he would never do
The
that.
the IMF.
Then you're kind of stealing.
Director.
You're kind of stealing the Top Gun Maverick storyline a little bit.
No, because he never made it. He never.
I
got
know, but
promoted.
that's how they would do it. Because Ethan would never take a
You're
management
right.
role.
You've been an analyst for
Yeah.
for 30 years.
He would never take management. Ethan Hunt is perhaps the most anti-management person
So
in
true.
movie history.
So true.